Hey people, so you guys get to eat lunch with me today. I'm having a pita. I don't think I can eat all this. And a salad, which I will just like put the picture in the as like the thumbnail or whatever, so I don't have to like dump my salad all over. It's a falafel salad. It's not vegan, so we'll see if I pay for it later. Yes, anyway, I want to talk about what I read this week. It was a really slow reading week, which is mainly because I was super busy at work this week. But the first book I read was Under a Flaming Sky by Daniel James Brown. He's the same author that wrote the, about the Donner Party. And it was like my #1 book of last year. So this book was well written. I just didn't care as much about it. It's about a fire that takes place in Minnesota. And yeah, interesting, but just not as interesting. It was crazy like how big and how fast this fire moved. And the other thing that I found interesting was in both the Donner book, my cats are fighting, both the Donner book and this book, he started by sharing how the story was somehow connected to his family history. So I'm curious if all his books are somehow connected to like his family's story, like if that's what he decides, like, hey, this event is somehow connected to our history. So I'm gonna research it. I don't really know. But he has another book coming out, I want to say in March or May. So we'll see if that one is also connected to his family. Then there's a book that I forgot my beverage. There's a book that I want to talk about in more detail. So I'm going to show you guys this one first, even though I read it most recently. And it's called The Seventh Mansion by Marcy Meyer. I hated this book. I hated it so much. I am really interested in like schools and stuff like that, and I thought this was kind of be like a school-ish story. And I also thought that it sounded interesting because the main character is like vegan and into the environment and all this stuff. Basically, like the back sounds really good. Okay, it says in Marcy Meyer's powerful, propulsive debut novel, The Seventh Mansion, we follow Z, a sensitive and shy teenager who moves from California to a rural southern town to live with his father. He makes just 2 friends, Joe and Lenny, both budding environmental and animal rights activists. When Z is caught after the 3 friends free captive mink from a local farm, his small world gets smaller. Kicked out of high school, he becomes increasingly connected with nature, spending his time in the woods behind his house, attending underground activist meetings, and serving as a custodian for what others ignore, abuse, and discard. So that's kind of where I stopped. I knew it was supposed to be like kind of horror, stuff like that, but I didn't read the rest because I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. So let me just tell you what happens. So if you don't want to listen to this part, just like wait till I hold up my next book, you know, just like move it up forward. It actually tells on the back, so I don't really think this is a spoiler, but basically this kid like goes and explores in the woods all the time when he gets grumpy because he's so emo throughout the whole book. And in the woods there's like this old church, and there's like the relics of a saint or something, but it's not just like relics are common in Catholicism, but it's typically like a tiny shard of a bone or like something very, very small. And my cats are totally like tackling each other. Nope, this is like an entire skeleton. Some martyred guy named Pancratius. And our main character Z, he gets teased a lot for like being gay, but people don't actually know if he's gay or not. Like he doesn't really talk about that in the story really. But he just really likes skeletons in a way that I would not have thought of before. And I think I was just pretty disturbed. There's a lot of events with skeletons, and it was too much. I just wasn't into it. Sorry guys, 1 star. Then I feel like I'm supposed to be eating and talking, and I just can't do 2 things at once. I don't know how other people do this. Okay, then this book was so good. You guys know I love random nonfiction. And this book is pretty random because it's about toilets, specifically public toilets. So it starts out with the author, Leslie Lowe, kind of filling you in on like why she's interested in toilets. Well, she initially became interested in them because she had young kids, and this is what she says. She's talking about how you potty train them, and then, there's a while where they're potty trained, but still kind of like cautious, sketchy area. And she said, kids, non-parents may be unaware here, give little warning of impending sanitary disaster. It can be 0 to puddle in under 60. And she's talking about how with little kids, you're like out in public, and like if they say they need to go potty, like they need to go now. They need to go like yesterday, basically. So she's like going to the park with her kids, and there's like no public facilities, or like they close down in the winter. Well, people still are outside in the winter. She's from Canada too, so I'm not sure like if this is specifically like a Canadian issue or everybody issue, but I really feel like it's an everybody issue. And I think that those of us who don't notice is because we're privileged in some sort of way. Like, we don't have kids, first of all, or I don't. So I wouldn't notice. The other thing is, if you don't have any like chronic illness or sort of bathroom situation, this is great for a lunch chat, isn't it? You wouldn't know because you can like wait until you find a place. Like, it's not like I need to go now, which is the case for some people. I don't have a physical disability or anything that would require me to have more space or anything in a facility. And yeah. Oh, and the other thing is too, like, we don't need to talk about finances or anything, but like I look like I am okay. I look safe, I think. I look friendly and polite, and so like if I went into McDonald's and I just used the bathroom without buying anything, no one would question me. Just a regular person. But have a homeless person do that same thing. You want to see if they would get talked to? Because they would. Or like a whole bunch of Black people, they would probably get talked to too. So anyway, there's like this whole like idea of bathroom privilege that she talks about. What else is in here? She's talking, oh, this was really interesting that I hadn't thought of before. I have thought about how there's always a line for the girls' bathroom. Like, no line for the guys, but really long line for the girls. And there's all this like joking people do about girls going to the bathroom together and how they take so long and how they're just in there chatting or whatever. Like, no, like maybe people check their phones in the bathroom, but for the most part, bathrooms are not where you want to hang out. There's not a couch in there. Like, nobody wants to hang out in a bathroom, right? And women physically need more time to use the facilities than men. And there's just not the same like number of toilets that we would need in order to keep things equal between the guys and the girls' bathroom. Like, just because a guy's bathroom has the same physical space as the ladies' bathroom doesn't mean things are equal, because they might have like 6 urinals and 3 toilets or something, and maybe the women's has like 4 toilets or something, but it's still not equal, right? And she's just talking about how long it takes, blah blah blah. Another interesting thing she talks about too is like when they're separated by gender, guys and girls, like what about if you're the caregiver for someone that needs assistance in the bathroom, but you're not the same genderism, and like there aren't a lot of just like anybody bathrooms. So she talks about that. Yeah, I don't really know why I've marked this. It's but too disturbing to talk about while I'm eating. But she just calls this idea potty parity, which is just making sure that things are equal in a lot of different ways with bathrooms, and that maybe women need more like space to get like equal, you know, like sometimes same is not always equal. That's a really good special ed book, and kind of the same with toilets. Anyway, the other thing she talked about was like homeless people, and like I was talking about earlier, how I have like potty privilege, I guess. If you're a homeless person, she's talking about this one place, I think it's in San Francisco, and they have this thing called Lava Mae, which is like this portable hygiene sort of place where people, the clients, they call them clients, which is important. They don't want to call them like, I don't know, like some condescending name or something. They make an appointment, and then they come back at their appointment time, and they can take a shower. If they want clean clothes, the clothes are available for them, all this sort of stuff. And then sometimes there's other services provided as well. Like maybe there's a mobile dentist, or if they need help accessing some sort of community resource or whatever, that can be there too. And so it's just like a really good way to like really care for people. And yeah, like just make sure that they're taken care of in a way that's like humane, and like showing that they are real human beings, and we don't need to treat them like trash just because they're homeless. So curious if you guys have ever read a book about toilets. What other nonfiction you've read that has been like pretty interesting, even though it's really random. I would definitely recommend that book. I thought it was really, really good, and I actually ended up buying it, but it's on its way. It's not here yet. The cats are going crazy. All right. I think I'm gonna finish my lunch by watching YouTube instead of filming on YouTube. But I hope that you guys have an amazing day or evening whenever you're watching this. And I'll talk to you later.